that glory before, or a team that has...
Yeah, because currently they're on the step down, so if they're going to step up to
But, well, Nova SQF did take a step down, certainly in that last game, and they are hopefully going to step up into this one. We'll see if it's going to be to the streets, but I think A1 actually has some decent chops to them in terms of moving into these games. We've seen actually them have some strong days. Yeah, it's unfortunate that they weren't able to continue to push up forwards. They do. In fact, they were one of the very few teams that showed that blood can be drawn from BTR as they tried to make those rotations. So proving to be a difficult force to be dealt with. I hope they'll be able to have some better games moving forward for A1.
Yeah, they dealt some pretty awful blows to Bigatron on Sandhawk. Now, I said I hate them, but honestly, I didn't say I hate them, but I said that
you said
A1,
that.
I hated
Blank said he hates A1.
What?
Oh, no.
What I mean to say is it is all fun and games at the end of the day. There's a lot of money on the line, but there is some incredible sportsmanship. And, you know, just from being here on day one and seeing the players all safely at social distance, just having fun with the other players at the hotel was really nice. They all seemed very, very happy to see one another, and there seemed to be some very, very nice friendships that were formed as this tournament has gone on between teams, which is lovely to see. You can see 4 AM here, as I said, well, the last time we were doing this segment, heading up towards Torre Ahumada and Tierra Blanca. So they're probably going to head up towards that side. Depending on the circle, they might head up to Campo Militar, try and pick up some high-quality loot from that area.
Splitting out, it's quite a northern plain and a southwestern shift as well. The hills around Chumacera, notorious. We've talked about it quite a lot, Blank, in the previous games that we've casted, but it's a very, very difficult area of terrain to navigate. It's so volatile as well in terms of where those shifts come through on the smaller scale.
I think that when you go down here, you kind of are at that point kind of committing to that area, which is a lot of times what makes the difficulty for a lot of these teams that do head down towards the south side of this map. You're kind of there for the long haul, if you know what I'm saying. I mean, Secret Jin though, over to the east side, holding it down. They're going to try and see if they can catch out any teams that want to rotate on the eastern road, which seems to be very, very much hotly contested for a lot of these matches we do have on Miramar. But here we are into match number 2 already, John.
Making it happen just a little bit at a time, but we will keep on moving forwards until all 24 are played out. There are the overall rankings: 21 points for Na'Vi, 24 for 4 Angry Men. A very, very high scoring game towards the top of those tables. Na'Vi, they're in La Cobreria over in the northern throes of this map. They're going to want to look to rotate. The standard rotation that they do here is actually just all the way down to the western side of El Pozo, along that road on the western coast. And they should, I say coast, on the western edge of the map. It's not on the coastline. Should definitely get that right, Blank. That's mountains, not water.
Good deal, John. You know, what's interesting, though, about this is that Zeus are in El Azahar. Now, a lot of times, RRQ stumbled towards Minas del Valle and Chumacera because Zeus got in their way, as well as Na'Vi. So you had this trio of teams that were causing problems for one another. This time, RRQ comfortably in El Pozo. Shouldn't have to move too much, especially with the way the circle is currently looking. Class Digital Athletics towards Power Grid. Nice little split here from them, just gathering as much information as they can.
Alpha 7 in Monte Nuevo as well. They're pretty central onto this circle. Not going to have to move too much, and actually will probably be one of the teams stopping the northern set of rotations coming through down into those Chumacera hills. They'll be looking out to their western side, and quite a lot of teams will probably be focused there, but you're only going to have 1, maybe 2 teams be able to make it through that gap. The question is, how much more can Alpha 7 guard out? They had a really strong game on that northern side of the Eranga. We didn't see too much of them on screen, but they did a lot of work on that edge, and certainly opening the tournament with a good record for themselves. On the eastern side, could prove to be a little bit more open.
Let's take a quick look at Alpha 7 here on their roster. Just make sure I'm still correct. If I can find them on the map. Yeah, when they come back on, there's one player that I want to talk about in particular, just see if he's in the game here right now. But we have Footballist on our screen, Solke there. This guy really stepped up in terms of performances in IGL. He was like bringing the fragging power. He was also bringing those great calls for the team, and Lutz backing up with those incredible long-range shots from a lot of the DMRs that he was incorporating into his own playstyle. Yes, Alpha 7 Mafioso on this team. Previously Ace 1. Now Ace 1 was a team in PMPL Americas that, you know, they really struggled until the end. But by struggled, I don't mean in the bad way. They really kept it going as much as possible. They never gave in. They never gave up. And honestly, it was a case where they were so close to these chicken dinners so many times they just weren't able to fully grasp it. Mafioso, fantastic player from that team, and I'm glad he's been given a chance here for Alpha 7 in the PMGC finals.
A1 and Canina Power very close to each other in Los Leones, but we know it's such a big settlement, you can comfortably loot 2 squads there. And they will be just fine. Looks like Airwolf Limax have sent a player down south early. Potato moving out from over in the ruins on the northwestern side to the western side of El Pozo. RRQ as well, just about to leave. And that should be spotted out by Potato if he's got his wits about him. They're all in vehicles, so the rest of Airwolf Limax have a little bit more intel in terms of that rotation. You see them on your screens right now. They're getting in the party bus.
Yeah, I think if we look back to the league stage as well, Potato with that 1v3 onto RRQ on Sandhawk. What a horrific time that was for RRQ themselves, where they had such a good position going forward. It was all flummoxed by one player on Airwolf. Slightly unfortunate there, but they will just get out of dodge nice and quickly. But like I said, that's a bit of information. You can see them leave. Now they know that El Pozo is open. They kind of make a campsite here and look to where they would like to head off to next.
Golden Mirado, 4 power, 888 on the northeastern side. They are just in this next circle, but they might want to move a little bit further central. Nova XQF on the eastern side, just out to the west of La Bandita, north of Los Leones. They have the hillside. They are, again, in the circle, yet to move further in. 4 Angry Men all the way out in the northeast, a little bit slow to the party to move on through, but Zeus, they've cut a path down all the way to the eastern edge.
Well, 4 AM, we know they always arrive fashionably late to these circles, so no one's surprised not to see them here at the party just yet. They will make their way in later. Probably cause a bit of a fuss there. Bigatron here on this map, and I think like we've seen Bigatron create history so many times on Miramar. We saw the double twin finish. We've also seen Ryzen with pretty much the 1v4. It was more than that though, with the way that guy was playing in those final circles all by himself, crouched in a bush.
Laying down in the desert harder than it looks, Blank.
Well, yes, as I found out, which I'm sure you guys will also find out soon. There is a ridiculous image of me somewhere in Dubai.
I don't know. Don't know if they've used that clip. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. If not, I'll request it, and I will share it regardless.
Oh, fantastic stuff. Well, 4 Angry Men, they've gotten into that Mirado, and they will be rotating out in the blue. RRQ, they left El Pozo early. They've made their way down all the way south almost, just a bit north of Valle de Mar on that southern edge. South of Alpha 7 as well, so they're vying for the similar sort of position in those hills around Chumacetra.
So this is very standard play for a lot of these teams at the moment. Now, I think Vikendi is where things get very aggressive very quickly. And, you know, I can tell you a little bit more about why we're not seeing that here on Miramar. Vikendi is very important for these teams to get a strong compound early on. On Miramar, you can kind of wait it out and use just the terrain to advantage, because a lot of it acts as its own type of cover. On Vikendi, teams are not hesitant to go, we want this compound, we know it's the winning compound, let's go, let's take it now. Here on Miramar, you're not going to see teams die until a little bit later on, because they will have studied these movements meticulously.
Maybe a little bit early for the fight between footballers in classical athletics, but they will get underway. It's right in the middle, and they'll be okay for now, potentially looking to try and take this compound, but the positions that classical athletics have are, well, they're getting spotted out by footballers, but they're very, very controlling over this open terrain, Blank.
Yeah, but now those off angles have been spotted out by footballers now, so they have some good control over this fight coming forward. They know which angles they need to look out for, and they can also decide whether this is a fight that they just don't want to take, which is very fair enough.
A lot of bullets being sent to the back of that UAZ, but none into Lovazin. Won't land the shot just yet. will get away with it for Footballist. They'll move along that road through Monte Nuevo, see what more they can find, what sort of cover they have. Bigatron on the southeastern side. A lot of teams moving into this location. You could see Abrupt Slayers down further to their south. And I think you might even have Nova XQF on the east of those guys as well. So we'll see what these guys have to put up.
It's a rough circle, and by rough I mean that quite literally. The terrain is so difficult to play around. There's a lot of divots here and there, a lot of mountainous terrain that these teams have to actually make their way through. Aerolf Max found a really good compound dot towards the southwest side, right on the ridge itself. We'll be able to get a lot of information going forward. Na'Vi trying to make their way down here as well, but they'll have to contest with them. Another team that I'm worried about for Na'Vi will be 4AM. A lot of times Na'Vi's let 4AM catch up to them whilst they're making this rotation, but this time Na'Vi's a little bit quicker on their feet, able to make it down before 4AM start to take shots at them.
A lot of the central area of the zone being taken up. No one really on this northwestern edge of the road through Monte Nuevo going northeast down to southwest. And 4AM, again, left alone on their own side of the circle. This is a recipe for disaster for the rest of the lobby if they allow them to remain safe there. The question is, where does the circle shift to? If it pushes 4AM into the rest of the teams, it sort of evens the playing field. But even if it shifts onto Monte Nuevo, all of a sudden, 4 Angry Men have got one of the best spots.
Yeah, and I mean, just from that position alone that you're talking about, there is so much availability to them to just peek over the top of these little hilltops and just look down towards these teams, gather information, and it's going to be so hard to actually crash towards them. Because imagine trying to drive a party bus over that terrain. It's not happening, or at least not speed.
Paraboy landing shots over towards Dante, A1. Proving elusive for now on the knock, but a lot of damage done. This is just to the eastern edge of Chumacera for Nova XQF, who are further north than that. A1 looking to try and get the high ground.
So they currently have attained, but they're surrounded by a fair few teams at the moment. Nova XQF firmly on the eastern side. No teams behind them, though. So moving into the circle with a little bit of safety going forward. They're not right on the edge of the blue either, so don't have anything breathing down their necks for the time being. 4AM, again, split up, trying to gather as much information as possible. This also means that they control a fair bit of the terrain here. If they've scouted out towards the east, they know that now they control most of Monte Nuevo and most of the ridge side down towards the southwest. Doesn't really matter, though, when you get a circle like that, which heads down towards the southeast, John, just north of Chumacera.
There we go. They are going to have to shift away. And this is the circle that I was talking about. If it shifts away from them, it won't be super impactful, but it levels the playing field. And even on a level playing field, 4 Angry Men are going to run you down. If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
I mean, but 4AM, again, they're just maxing their probabilities in these games. And I'm okay with that. They're always trying to get a chance where, look, we can get the circle if we all hold in this direction. But, you know, we've already scouted out this area. Why don't we try and just control 2 areas at once and then just group up later on? Salt K goes down. Classes Athletics between these two teams. The fight is continuing to rage on here. As the rest of the team start to group up a little bit, but the shots coming down from Alpha 7 on the top side. Footballers getting crunched.
Pretty tricky spot for them. Solkay getting knocked. Raum soon to follow. Lutz low on HP and Lobbers in. Really the only fully functioning member at the moment for Footballist. Lutz does get back some HP, but now they're down to 2. Alpha 7 on the top of the hillside. They've managed to provide a windbreak for all of these teams trying to push in towards their area, towards their territory blank. They are laying their claim.
Yeah. Footballists have dipped their toes a little bit too far forward into the sea between Digital Athletics as well as Alpha 7. So they have been pinched by a lobster there.
Pretty tricky indeed. 4 Angry Men, they've gone all the way down south now. They love those wide swings. They look for the opportune position to insurge into the circle. And Na'Vi, again, will have to face off against them out towards the edge. This southern edge is looking so difficult near Chumacera.
Yeah, I mean, for Na'Vi, what they're trying to do right now is trying to figure out where they can actually get into this circle. Where's the best place to inject here? And like you say, 4M's right behind them. He's going to be causing them a lot of problems. Old Boy hanging back as he usually does, trying to see if there's anyone, you know, stealthily creeping up on them. And it is currently 4 AM, so he's got to keep his eyes peeled and his head on the swivel.
Na'Vi moving on forwards. I don't know exactly where 4AM are. I think they're all the way down south of Minas de Valle, still out in the blue. RRQ lost a player on the hillsides. And Secret Jin trying to play spoiler. On the northern side here, oh, this is the replay of the player getting taken down for D2E. Cosmos able to get the spray down. D2E just out in the open. Secret Jin playing a really strong spot against all of these teams in Chumacera. The question is, are they going to take the fights one at a time, or is everyone going to try and move at the same position at the same time?
You've also got to remember that these guys were right on the eastern side of the coast too, so they've actually worked their way in here. It's not been a free position that they've taken. They have made some fantastic little rotations, and it will continue to bear fruit as the circle drops on top of them. Sure, they are down to the southwest, but they have an easy position to move forward towards the center.
4 increments still out in the blue, still moving their way forwards at zone 4, so those will start to hurt, will start to prove bothersome. Nova XQF on the eastern side, again trying to move on through Power 888 right now. Of course, down to 2 players. You can see them swarming over the ridgeline. Ice trying to hold face as Zeus come into contact with Kanina Power. This is on the southeastern edge, guarded by A1 as well further in, but the nades start to fly back and forth. Yol takes a little bit of damage, a lot of damage sent to Ably as well. None really responded towards Kanina Power as the bombardment continues. Godless down a little bit as well. The heals start to come through. Kanina Power hold for now, but they both have to move.
You will be wondering where Rubdini is. Unfortunately, he was not able to attend the event. So Frozen here instead for Kanina Power. Still an incredible team with Axa, Gonzo, and Black White still here holding it down. Zeus looking like they want to make a way. Axa has position on the top side. Ably here with a nade in hand. You doubt that's going to hit anything as it just swings over the top.
Ooh, not going to get any damage, as you say, Blank. 3 players left for Zeus, and they really don't want to take this fight. They don't want to reduce their strength any further. Let Kanina Power clash with A1 just over that ridgeline, and just let that fight happen. That reduces their strength. You can try and pick up something off the back of that. Na'Vi, they found themselves Aerowolf Limax right now. All 4 players alive for both of these teams.
60 moving forward. You know how aggressive this guy likes to be. If he can pop the first kill though, get a knock, then it means the rest of Na'Vi can swarm over the tops on that one. But good of him to actually move back, and it feels like we are starting to see a little bit of this from Tixie more often, where it's more reserved, a little bit more passive, and he moves back, gives space to his team, and they can kind of figure out what they want to do next with this circle that is on board. Silence dropping down the smoke, provides him a little bit more cover, and he can start to move forward using that.
Remember, of course, football is down to 2 players from their engagements earlier. Both teams are going to have to move into the circle, and it looks like Class Digital Athletics have the better spot of this, the better end of the stick. Alpha 7 move ahead, though, and will try to guard it. Lutz being burnt on out from his cover, will get sprayed down. Beautifully done there from Silas, dropping the molly and crushing Lutz in the corner there. Lovers in, last player standing for Footballist, again down to 1. We'll see how much further they can get.
That's 4 AM taking a lot of shots. I mean, I said fashionably late, but this is looking a lot more rugged than they'd like it to be. Hazuki also down, facing off between them and Secret Jin. RRQ also in this position. 4 AM just took too long to get here.
It was such a difficult rotation for them, and they were really struggling to find an opening. However, they are still 2 players alive. They are in the circle, Blank, so they'll be okay for now. Secret Jin have taken a knock, and you've got RRQ to worry about as well. Svan isolated from his teammate. He has moved a little bit further down on the south. That's Sook not going to be able to get this res. A nice nade found. Now RRQ can start to move forwards, but they still have to deal with Secret Jin, who are playing spoiler on the northern side of Chumacera.
Next circle about to come through. No one wants to head towards the middle, but Abrupt Slayers, they were only ones to brave this one forward with 2 loot crates right on top of them. They get a cheeky little circle here for themselves, and now all teams have to start to squeeze in towards the middle. 4 AM is now pretty much flushed out. Just the remaining player in Sook for them, the lone soldier. Power Triple Eight footballers, both in similar positions with only one player remaining.
Nades roll downhill, gather speed from Alpha 7. Towards Clash Digital Athletics as well. They know the spots, they know the positions. That one landed, okay. Fair enough. Into the smokes they go. Silas trying to lead the charge with those smokes. RRQ allow Godless and Ziol to slip on by and into the circle as well. They're in an open spot and they don't want to draw attention from A1. The nade goes over the top. Ooh. A lovely nade there from RRQ. Looking to follow it up with a second, but the smoke blooms. Godless low, has been spotted. Boom goes the buggy. And with it, Ziol's hopes starting to go up in flames. Teammate down, half HP, looking to try and heal. But in comes Sukin, one hell of a tumble on the buggy, trying to survive as well. But RRQ have him in his sights, and that's Suk falling.
I mean, that was one hell of a roll, and I mean, he rolled right into RRQ, and they were happy to receive. Beer 11 from the backside of the shack. Kanina Power frozen out in the open. See how much more he can do with this one, but he's about to be put on ice.
RRQ are not afraid to split up, and that's exactly what they've done here, Blank. They're down to 3. They've left G9 in the back. They've got some beautiful pincers here, and they're controlling this open ground from what is minimal cover right now. Secret Jin clashing with Na'Vi on the exit as well. Looks like Na'Vi going very low, but Secret Jin gets... Secret Jin going down there, eliminating a team on Na'Vi. Kanina Power now join the fray against RRQ. Zeus as well, still trying to hold on.
Yeah, so much happening in this circle. It's taken so long for all these teams to make a move. No one wants to head out into this open ground, find themselves a position, maybe watch another team try and carelessly walk forward. So a lot happening here, but most of it's down on the south side. Bigatron and Nova XQF quite comfortable, in fact, over towards the northeast. These guys are 100% waiting, biding their time. I don't think these South teams expected this kind of shit.
Power Triple Eight going down. The 3 teams who finished top 3 in the last game have gone down very, very early, Blank. So we're looking to even the score lines here on the tables. Who's going to be able to surge into the lead? That's what we're here to find out. Alpha 7 still continuing to prove troublesome for anybody who dares step foot onto this hillside. But Mafioso's down and knocked. No one looking to res him just yet. Ooh. Along the side here, this is a very, very difficult fight for both of these squads. Nova XQF looking to put pressure over towards Bigatron, and the nades continue to fly. Smoke's giving the cover, but it's not hard. It will not stop the bullets. And both teams remain alive for now.
Bigatron took a huge amount of shrapnel, but the bandages were already halfway around the arms by the time they came through. King is taking a massive amount of damage, and these nades are what is coming in massively handy. These smokes might just start to dissipate very soon, and all the while, Nova XQF trying to find a better position here.
And neither of these teams are in the next circle, Blank. They're going to have to move. There is a clock on the fight, and they have to try and pull the trigger. Already, Order sending out, getting them a forward position. Bigatron might try and push, but they have the back door now. They're in the circle as well if they move to Order's spot. The question is, can they stay safe from the northern side? They'll have to wait and see. Between a rock and a hard place, do you choose Bigatron or do you choose the risky push? It might be that they can strike out towards Bigatron as Zuxi goes down, Ryzen falls, and now it's Microboy and Luxi left alive. Out in the blue, Paraboy tries to get an off angle, and Nova XQF stay alive for now. Microboy takes bended knee, and one player now standing for Bigatron.
That was such a fantastic hold from Paraboy. Oh my lord, the patience on this man. He was out in the blue whilst that happened, edged the vehicle round the side, but held it down whilst the rest of his team moved up the hillside. This is one hell of a fight for Nova XQF to survive, but look at this. A1 is looking down on this team, and Order's been spotted.
Oh, he's going to get tagged up as well, but makes it behind the crate just in time. Jax back into the smoke, looking to try and keep them all alive. A1 have a really good spot here. Alpha 7 go down on the northwestern edge, and the Abrupt Slayers now playing spoiler to Clash Digital Athletics representatives and Aerowolf Limax all the way on that northwestern edge. RRQ suffering heavily, and now it's Abrupt Slayers with the only team with all 4 alive. In goes Luxi, down goes Luxi. King shuts it out, and it's Nova XQF trying to get those reses, but it's stolen away. It's pincered out, and it's A1 to try and shut it down.
Jax has to come down off this hillside. You can see him dropping the smokes now, but he's done his job. He's provided so much cover towards Sinister that he can live on for a little bit longer. But these smokes, they are going to be removed from the battlefield very soon. You see Abrupt Slayers off in the distance, but right now, Nova XQF, they're clinging on, but there's really not a lot of cover here. That is, unless you get another loot box dropped on your head.
Oh, Abrupt Slayers looking to try and swarm around Solus. They are the piranhas right now, Blank. And Solus will have to move. He'll have to get out eventually over the hillside, looking for a nade, looking for a knock, but really not going to find too much. Maybe trying to heal up a little bit, but down he goes. And that's Clash Digital Athletics eliminated, 6th place for them. Zeus, RRQ still alive, but they're both out in the blue, so really non-factors into this next circle. A1 will lose yet another player, so it's just Sinister left.
NovaXUF cosplaying, Box Gaming here with the double box in front of them, but that's Abrupt Slayers to take down all the players from NovaXUF. What is happening here? So much occurs in such a short amount of time. Leon now running over the tops here.
It's just Sinister now, and Abrupt Slayers strike from the top of the hill. They run on down. Sinister looking to try and heal up, looking to get a little bit of health, maybe another point or two if he's lucky. Finds one onto Heaven, but gets shut down, lickety split, and it's Abrupt Slayers to take the second chicken dinner.
And it does not get any more abrupt than that. So many